What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the hoetohusbandpodcast. I'm your host, Terry Duran. I got both of my co-hosts on the line with me. I got my man, J Bop, in the building. What's good, man?
What's good, man? Repping for the Knicks tonight. Ready to see them catch that dub, make it on to the second round here. But want to quickly remind you, you can catch us on TikTok as well. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Hold Husband Podcast. And for those interested in promos or shout-outs, you can shoot us a DM on IG at Hold Husband Podcast, as well as emails at holdhusbandpodcast@gmail.com. All right, T.
I also got my man SD in the building. What's up with you?
Another man repping my Chicago Bulls, red and black here. You know what I'm saying? Even though they ain't in the playoffs, but I'm gonna wear the red and black anyway. You know what I'm saying? Forget the Knicks. All right, I want to give a shout out to Brother Soul Productions for always keeping the background audio fresh. And I want to remind you all to donate to the Hold a Husband podcast on Cash App and PayPal. All right, T.
I want to remind everybody that y'all can catch the audio playback of the podcast every Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on the 94core.com. Tonight's episode is titled Trial and Error. We're just going to be having a conversation about some of the dating lessons or life lessons that we've had to learn coming up, and some of the advice that has been given to us. But y'all know how we do around here, man. We like to discuss stuff that we've seen on our timelines or things that have been trending. And so we got a couple interesting videos to discuss this week. We wanted to start off with this first video of a guy talking about his desire to have a black girlfriend. Let's take a look.
You don't date black women.
I've never had a black girlfriend. I don't know how to say this, so I'll just say it. I want a black girlfriend.
Yes.
Not to marry. I just want to have experienced it.
The fuck do you think this is?
I don't know.
You just dip. You could just go ahead, dip your little toe.
Haven't you?
Dip your wand?
I don't know who
You've dipped a lot
marry.
of your toes.
Listen, I've dipped all my toes and fingers.
I can understand why a lot of people have an issue with this. Because to me, it sounds like he wants to smash a black chick. In other words, you know what I mean? To say he's experienced it. And I can certainly understand why. Black women are very sexualized, and they're very attractive. So our natural instinct, I think, as far as desirability goes, a lot of women are very desirable physically. And I know a lot of guys that have said similar things to other nationalities of women. You know, I want to smash a Filipino chick, or I want to smash this type of chick. So I think that the desire to have experiences with different type of women is kind of universal. So I'm not mad at what he said. I understand where he was coming from.
Yeah, I'm not mad at what he's saying. And I have heard other men say similar things. The only difference is that I have never heard other men, be it black or whoever, say that I want to smash him, but I wouldn't marry him. I personally have never heard that. I have heard white guys that I personally know and work with. A lot of them, it's about maybe 90%, you know, that I've worked with over my years. And a lot of them say similar things. Listen, I would sleep with one, but I wouldn't dare marry one. And then when you look at the statistics of white dudes marrying black women, there's only roughly about 168,000 white men married to black women. That makes up for less than 0.5% of married white men. It's not something that it's not something that they do in bulk like that. Like if you think of any white athletes that have black wives, I could only think of one.
It's a couple, but
yeah, like I could only really think of one, and that's Dirk Nowitzki. He used to play with the Mavs. Outside of him having a black wife, I don't really know. But you could throw a rock in the NBA, NFL, any of these other ones and hit a black dude that's married to a white woman or a Latina woman. Like it's one of them things. So I think a lot of men fetishize black women because black women are mainly who are sexualized when it comes to music videos. They own songs, challenges on social media, whether it's the ceiling challenge, the twerk challenge, strippers, all of this here type of thing. Yeah, they sexualize. So men see them in that light, especially men that aren't black. and they would definitely have sex with them. But a lot of them think the same way that this here man does. So, Jay, what you think?
When I heard it, I thought of it like he was saying like it was a fetish from like, hey, I just want to smash black women. You know, we all know he's got black porn all on his phone and everything. And he's not, you know, he has completely no interest in, you know, making one his girlfriend or marrying. But yeah, he wants to smash. And like I said, it's not just isolated to him. He's not an anomaly here. Like you said, there's probably a ton of other white men who have the same disposition as SD just explained. I'll turn it over to one of y'all.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was interesting for him the way he worded it, though. Like, I want a black girlfriend. Newsflash, you don't have to have a black girlfriend to actually experience dating a black chick. So that part of it is kind of off, because I remember, you know, back in the day, back in the 70s and 80s, you had to court a woman and, you know, be talking serious relationship before things really got to that level. But that's not the case nowadays. But he might like it, you know what I'm saying? Like most of the relationships that are actually healthy happen organically, and it's a result of having positive experiences with somebody. So sometimes you can go into a situation, you know, with a negative disposition or negative thoughts about something and come out with a completely different experience.
No, man. No.
Why you say that?
You don't think so?
I ain't with it. Because like to voice that verbally, to say, hey, I want to sleep with a black chick, but I don't want to marry a black chick. I don't care what you do later on. I don't care how you feel about the sex or how you feel later on, bro. That's who you really are. Deep down inside, people try to suppress that type of stuff. But deep down inside, that's who you really are. And if it comes down to it, she gonna be a nigga. She just gonna be a ghetto black chick. When it come down to it, and then that woman be saying, I knew it. I knew I shouldn't have did it because of his attitude. Not saying that you shouldn't date interracially or go out with somebody interracially. Cool. But to voice something like that, it's something deeper than that for me that can't be erased by just being with one chick and having sex with one chick. I wouldn't trust a chick like that said, I just want to sleep with a black dude, but I would never marry him. If I'm a marriage-minded man and I would like to get married, there's no way I'm gonna marry a white chick that said that publicly that I know about.
I can understand that. I can understand that. Like you said, a black woman that sees this, if you the chick that they end up smashing them, then that's on you. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to take what comes with it.
But you know what? There are some that still will anyway. I mean, listen, online they have a whole divester movement.
Yeah, I know.
Where they will sleep with men just like this.
Hey, you know.
Yeah, man, you can find anything. You got the money for it, and you willing to accept or deal with certain things. Like I said, it's very easy to get your fetish fulfilled, my man. If that's what you're trying to do.
Black dudes do it too.
Right. You know, I mean, there are certain types of women that I immediately could tell I would smash, but would never be in a relationship with. I think that's. I don't know if that's just me being really good at vetting women or knowing what I do and don't like, but that's something that you can, you know, figure out relatively quickly from the male perspective. And so it is what it is. You know, you have to put yourself in a position to have that success or to even have it as an option. But what you turned on by, and I wanted to kind of touch on something that you said as far as them not wanting to marry a black woman. I think a lot of that, it could be family pressure, or you know, not wanting to deal with the judgment that comes with being in an interracial relationship. Because I don't think that's ever gonna go away.
Yeah, I hear it, but you don't come on a public podcast and say it. If you're worried about your family, if you're worried about your family, you don't come on a public podcast and say stuff like that you smash her. They'd be like, wait a minute now, what you doing? So there's a lot of women that I would smash too, that I would marry, but none of them is because of race. You know what I'm saying? Ain't none of it because of race. It's more attitude based or how they look or whatever.
Individual based.
Yeah, like it ain't race based.
But you know what? Two things can be true at the same time, because both of what you just said. I think when it comes to a lot of these other groups, they're hypersensitive of who you procreate with. You know, when you talk about family pressure, they're real like hypersensitive about it. They don't want you to procreate with anything other than your own race.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've seen that too. You know, race is a very, very touchy subject when it comes to family and marriage. So let's keep things rolling, man. This next video is a video of our man Trick Fontaine that went viral, where he was comparing the difference between a man building his woman up to be successful versus if a woman does that for a man. Let's take a look.
If a man said, "Oh yeah, when I married my lady, she had $15,000 in her account. Working with me over the 2 years, now she got 120 in there, and I got 2 properties in her name." They're gonna applaud him. They're gonna applaud her. They're gonna say the marriage strong. Let a woman say, "Come on. When my man came to me, he hadn't finished school yet. He didn't have good credit. And after 2 years with me, I built his credit up. I put him through school, and I got him 2 houses." They're gonna look at him like he a bum, and they're gonna look at her like she dumb.
Unfortunately, that is accurate as hell. I don't know why there's such a negative stigma in our community about a woman doing something for a man. Because to me, I thought the whole purpose of trying to get in a serious relationship or a marriage was to be able to pool your resources. That means your connections, your finances, whatever you have that could benefit us as a whole, to benefit both of us. And so what he just described, it sounds like a win-win from a male or female perspective to me. Unfortunately, that's not how the public would see it.
Well, you know what our problem is as Black people? We don't look at relationships as an us thing nowadays. It's looked at as a me thing. What I can get, how I can get it, because they don't even have to be broke in order for this to play out like that. I remember when Moneybagg Yo bought his girl Lambo truck, a Ghost, some diamonds, like a lot of stuff. And the women, hey, yes, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. And then later on, she bought him some property, like some land or something where he can build some stuff on. And the women was like, "This ain't your husband. What you buying it for him for?" Like, we don't have that us type of mentality when it comes to, and I'm not even gonna say we, I'm gonna say the women don't have that us. A lot of the women, not all of them, don't have that us mentality when it comes to finances and building. As far as the relationship goes, a lot of women don't have that. It's more of, your money is for us, my money is for me.
For me, yeah.
Yes, anything done by me is gonna be minimal. Everything else got to be done by you, or you aren't a real man. You aren't a provider. You aren't doing what you're supposed to do. You aren't leading. All right, and that's just the way it goes within our community, especially with our women, because of a lot of this here stuff that goes on and that's being said on social media. We are the most influenced people on the planet. That's why businesses cater everything to the Black community, because especially our women, because they spend the most when they outside. So they cater everything to them. And a lot of this here stuff that happens in social media and on TV and on these TV shows, it is influencing a lot of our women in a negative way. Not saying that men don't have their negative influences too, but I'm saying a lot of this stuff, be it all the TV shows, a lot of them are women based. Basketball Wives, Love and Hip Hop,
a lot of gold digging women, a lot of materialistic women.
A bunch of nonsense is what it is, right? And what do we see playing out? Because these here people are influencers. They influence, and we are the most influenced people out here. And this is what the influence is doing to our mindset and our behavior as a whole, especially our women when it comes to relationships and marriage.
Yeah. Man, that's you really said a lot there. But the thing with the influence, social media goes out of the way to push these influencers and push them on us. They go out of the way to push it in our algorithm. But it's crazy. It's a double standard here in play, right? In one instance, it's like she built him up. If things go wrong, she's not going to let that down. She's going to remind him, hey, I built this man up. I did X, Y, Z. Now, let's just say things go south with the guy. No one's going to say, hey, he built her up. She's what she is because of him. Hey, no one's going to say that, unfortunately.
No.
It's always framed in a negative light. But if you do the research, majority of the wealth that's transferred to women comes
from a man.
so it's embedded in, you know, throughout the world where women look at men to take resources from, and that's fine to a degree. But as a man, you have to be able to tell the difference between a woman who's only there for your resources or what you can do for her versus a woman that's actually there for the benefit of the family unit. So I know I was gonna say it seems like the percentage of women that you can actually build with is getting smaller and smaller because of what you said earlier, that they're influenced by, they're worried about what other people are gonna say or what social media is gonna say to whoever they get with or whatever they do.
That's all. Go ahead, Joe.
I was just saying the other day, if you're going into a relationship or a man, you're supposed to go into it like a team sport, right? Here's an example. If let's just say guy makes 90,000, you make 50,000. I mean, do the math, you have 140,000, right? That's how you're supposed to look at it. And if you're not going into it with that mindset, like, hey, this is the family money here, you're going in for the wrong reasons there. Go ahead, Steve.
And as men, we got to be able to see that. We had a young lady on about 3 weeks ago, married young lady. I can't remember her handle or her name at the moment, but we asked her, hey, how do you know when a woman is really there for the man and not just the marriage or what she can get from him and just want to be married or something like that? And one of the things she said was kind of just made me think of something Terry just said about is she just there for her or is she there for the dude? Like when they going through this here process of trying to get married or whatever the case, is she like a bridezilla? Like, hey, no, I want this here, I want that. She not trying to be reasonable with you and all them types of things. Like, so that's the difference between a gold digger, because Terry had kind of alluded to that, and a woman that's looking for a man to provide. Because as a woman, you're supposed to want a man that's doing well for himself and that can provide for a family. But if you are just with him for what you can get from him, then you are a gold digger. You're not there because, hey, this will help benefit us as a family, as a whole, as a unit. You're there for, I can extract from him and I can get trips and I can get this and I can get that.
The lifestyle.
It's all about you. Yes, That's what makes you a gold digger. Not wanting the man that knows how to provide if your mindset is in the right place. So men have to be careful, and women too that's got resources. You have to be careful with who you entertain out here and who you potentially spend the rest of your life with or have kids with, because it could be detrimental for 18 plus years if you don't.
Yeah, I mean, that's why whenever we have the conversation, we talk about, a woman making more than her man. The biggest reason that's a problem is because a lot of women have this mentality where they want to be very selfish with their resources, or they view it negatively if they do something for a man and they don't end up together forever, which is pretty ironic because there are a lot of women with houses and money that come from their exes or the residual income they get from somebody they smashed a long time ago. You know what I mean? Like, so a lot of women are perfectly fine with continuing or trying to put themselves in a position to be able to reap benefits long after a relationship ends. But if they actually have the mentality where, all right, I met a dude, he's a great dude, but he's making 60,000 right now. But he's so smart. If I take my resources and help him open a business or do something like that, well, a year or two later, he could be worth 2 or 3 times that. But that's frowned upon, and like Tripp said in the video, her friends are going to be telling her how stupid she is and how, you know what I'm saying, like all those type of negative vibes. And
single friends at that, 9 times out of 10.
It's frowned upon in our community. In our community, a lot of these here other chicks will go and get these here dudes and see him making $50,000-$60,000 and be like, hey, like Terry said, in a couple years, he might be making that money, and they'll take him. right then, and they'll build with him and work with him and all this here.
That's how it's supposed to be.
I know, but that part of it is gone now. Look at when you watch Kendra G, when you watch old Kevin Samuel shows, when you listen to these women. Now the man got to make 100,000. That's what you hear from the majority of the women. They want him at the finish line when he had already got there, but they done passed up on a lot of the dudes in college. A lot of the guys that was lame in college, they messed around with the dudes that were hoes, and now they want the guy that's at the finish line. Where a lot of these other chicks say, cool, we both ain't got nothing. That's when you should get with somebody, especially you a woman and you young, you got somebody doing something with themselves in school and build with them. But nowadays, that whole build with a guy thing, it's frowned upon because now they call it struggle love. That's what they call it. They call it struggle love. Now tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying.
No, you ain't lying at all.
They call it struggle love. Why I gotta struggle? He ain't got his stuff together yet. All the while, they might be the ones that's causing the struggle love with the attitude, the behavior, and the mindset that they bring into the relationship, and not the type of behavior, mindset, and different things that help cultivate a relationship. That's a lot of our problem within our community, be it men or women. It's not just the women, it's the men too. But a lot of women now, and this is the thing that I like to say, a lot of average women don't like average men no more in our community. And that's why the marriage rates are plummeting for our women more than ever before.
Man, ladies, just stop looking for that 6-figure dude and get with that dude that's making 50.
It ain't enough for them to go around.
And build with him.
It ain't enough for them to go around.
Well, see, I was gonna say the women that use that kind of terminology, the struggle love or whatnot, to me, those are the type of women that you should weed out because they're looking at the lifestyle associated with being with that person. That they want the dude that's in a luxury car that can just go pay for brunch and pay for the birthday dinners and all the type of stuff that they see on their social media. And so those are the type of things that cause women to miss out on what they claim that they want. Because, we talk about me and my wife all the time. We're approaching 20 years of marriage, but we struggled. We struggled to pay for our wedding. We struggled, you know what I'm saying? Like my struggle is probably different than what somebody else considers struggle. I mean, we ain't never been evicted or homeless or nothing to that nature, but there are things we can't afford to do. There are times where we've had to share a car or struggle or make it work for both of us to be successful. But those same people that would frown upon those type of things are the people that claim that they want to be married forever. And my soulmate this and you know what I'm saying? It's like,
people ain't built for that. People ain't built for that now. Men and women. And it's really a lot because of social media and the illusion of options. A lot of people ain't built for struggle now. Back then, people were built for struggle. They ain't have nothing. Not a thing. Women couldn't work. Men barely got jobs. They had to work with each other and depend on each other. Now, man, we got the illusion of so many options. I don't need you. I cut you off for this and that there. Hey, you walk funny. I'm cutting you off. You talk funny. I'm cutting you off.
Stupidest reasons.
That's what I'm saying. We ain't built for a lot of people today are not built to struggle and go through thick and thin for better or worse. It's just something they say during their vows. But when the worst get there, man, these here folks is gone. I'll holler at you later. Somebody else will show me a good time for another 3, 4, 5 years. Like that's really what it comes down to.
Sad but true.
Yeah, we ain't built to struggle out here, man. Folks are spoiled and lazy.
All right, man. Looks like we are up against the clock. We're about to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be getting into tonight's topic, trial and error, where we're talking about some of the dating and life lessons that we learned coming up. Y'all are tuned into the Ho to Husband podcast. We'll be back in a minute. Hi, I'm relationship coach and author Terry Duran, and I am pleased to announce that my book, It's Not That Complicated, is finally available as an audiobook. So if you don't like to read or you just don't have time to read a paperback book, this audiobook is perfect for you. You can listen to it while you're in your car, while you're at work, etc. In the book, I break down how husband material men think and operate in regards to sex, love, and relationships, and I provide real quality insight on how husband material men approach dating. The audiobook is available on audible.com and on iTunes. All you have to do is go to one of the websites and search for my name, Terry Duran. Go download your copy today. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Ho to Husband podcast. Tonight's episode is titled Trial and Error. We're talking about some of the dating lessons or the life lessons that we had coming up, and some of the things that were taught to us. So I wanted to start off the conversation by asking y'all, what were some of the lessons that y'all can remember about dating or women that that y'all remember growing up, and who actually gave them to you?
Man, I remember my granddaddy had told me one, and I never forgot this, because I used to always talk about how I like pretty women. Oh, she got to be pretty. She got to be pretty. I go through the Ebony and Jet magazines, and then I said, "Oh yeah, she pretty. She not pretty. She pretty." And my granddaddy said, "Boy, no matter how pretty she is, somebody somewhere is tired of her." And I was like, I didn't quite get it. I was like, how you get tired of a pretty chick? Until I started dating pretty chicks, and I'm like, this heifer is annoying like a mother. Granddaddy was right. And so it was like, pretty ain't everything. That was the lesson that really stuck with me. Like, y'all gonna get on each other's nerves. This woman gonna be just like the other woman. She just prettier. So don't put too much stock into how she looks, and put some stock into her character as well. So that was one that I learned. Jay, what about you?
Man, he gave you great advice over there. For me, I actually learned in high school, through one of my first jobs. I was an older cat. He was already in his mid-20s, but one of the first things I learned, just talking to him, is just having a level of confidence when you approach them. Not no matter how pretty she is, not thinking anyone is out your league.
Facts. Confidence and swag is definitely a big play in it. Go ahead. Go ahead, Terry. Go ahead. Well, no, I was gonna say, I didn't have no big brother or nobody that could school me or coach me. So I did most of my learning by just observing people around me. I had older cousins, so I had an older cousin that was successful with chicks, so I would peep game with him. Now that I think that taught me some hoish habits, or what they call it, mannish. I was mannish real young. But I will admit the learning and the observations definitely taught me how to avoid the pitfalls that I seen other guys do. Like talking to women crazy or being aggressive. Bitch, fuck y'all. You know what I'm saying? Just creating a hostile type of relationship with a woman. Seeing the guys that were successful taught me how to play it cool, and how to sit back and chill and observe. That's usually what gave me the most success with women, because that's how you can figure out who actually likes you.
Yeah. Another thing that I learned, and this just wasn't from somebody. A lot of things I learned come from just observation. All right. And one thing that I learned is when you got your financial life in order, you can pretty much get, the women when you got your financial life in order. So that was something that I always wanted to do, because I seen the contrast between broke dudes and men that had money. The broke dudes had to get the bottom of the barrel chicks. The guys that got their life in order and got their money together, they got to get nice women that took care of themselves and those types of things, and smash them types of chicks. So I was always like, yo, what career path can I go on that'll get me some money? So that's one thing that I took from that. And another thing was, my father used to say, hey man, you want to know how a woman gonna look in 20 years?
Look at that mama, boy.
Look at her mama, right? Hey, we always told that. See? We always told the same thing. So I
observed that. Well, I want to piggyback on that. I said this on my page a couple years back, and it caused some flack. Yeah, but to your point, observing the mom, that's a key thing. You gotta, how the mom look, that lets you know their lifestyle and etc. And another thing that I would say to pay attention to, fellas, if you want to get a kind of a preview of what you're gonna be dealing with in the future, you got to look at that elbow, man. If her elbow is loose, if there's a lot of extra skin around that elbow, she's gonna grow into it.
Oh,
So,
man. That's rough. Boy, that's rough. Get ready to have your page down to 150,000 next week.
Hey, that elbow check, man. I mean, you can still be fine and have those elbows, as a warning. But that was one thing that, and another thing, like you said, as far as the income, I experienced that at a very small scale as a teenager. That's when I kind of got in the game per se. Because in Kansas City at 14, I was able to get like a job over the summer. And so that was my first time actually being able to generate my own income. But my aunt that summer had started dating a guy that ran a paper route. And so he hired me on his paper route. So I was able to work, not going to say full time. I would work like 2.5 to 3 hours every morning, but it was 365 days a year, holidays, whatever. He would come pick me up. We go deliver the papers. He dropped me off in time to go to school. Well, that income put me on a much higher caliber from my peers, because I didn't have to ask to go for money to go to the movies, or McDonald's money. I could actually afford to wear what I wanted to wear and invite girls to stuff that I wanted to do. And so it kind of put me in like a semi-adult position at a very early age.
Yeah, hey, I get that. But hey, man, let me ask y'all something. Terry, you might be out of the game with this here, but no, you were still in it because I done heard some stories from you. What was your biggest dating mistake or blunder that you made growing up? I'll tell mine last.
Oh man, mine. Well, I would say my biggest blunder. Well, personally, I would say is not eating pussy in high school.
Did he really just say that?
Blunder. Yeah, that was eating pussy wasn't cool in the 90s, so I got it on the train late. But I would say my biggest strategic blunder was actually convincing myself that I'm a holler at her later. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll be like, oh no, I'm gonna wait till I get my hair cut. So yeah, you would miss an opportunity for a girl over something that may not happen. And so I ended up missing out on a chick that I really liked over that. And so that taught me to be more aggressive and more timely in my shoot my shot to a woman.
Okay, what about you?
I'll say it's a couple of things here. No one wishing what I know now, knowing then, like kind of like what Terry said, hey, wish I would have ate pussy in high school. Not necessarily to that extent, but I felt like, hey, I think then I was just trying to do anything to just try to please a woman and make a woman happy. I didn't really have a set of real standards that I really stood on then, I would say. And I didn't really start learning that until probably I got to my 20s, to be honest with y'all.
Really? Man, listen. Mine was not learning how to pull out. That was my
You had your first one at 17, right?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Not knowing how to. I wasn't practicing to pull out you know what I'm saying? I was doing it myself. You ain't got to pull out when you're doing it yourself when you're young. You just keep going. So then when I got it, that last hump got me. That last hump. So I wasn't practicing to pull out, and thus had a kid or conceived a child at 17 while I was still in high school, man. And I had a lot of stuff going on. I was playing ball in school, with Dwayne Wade and all this other stuff. We was gonna go to college and play ball, and it just got derailed, because I was like, man, I gotta make money. I got to get out and get my career started because I got a kid coming. So I wind up leaving school early. Yeah, I wound up leaving school early because I had enough credits to graduate early. Got into my career. My son about to be 25 in a couple months, and I've been in my career 24 years. So, it was one of those things, in the long run, yeah, it played out it played out pretty good. But them beginning years as a young dad and all that type of stuff, man, like it's tough because I was a kid trying to be a father to another kid, and I just wasn't prepared for it. Mentally, anything, because I still wanted to run the streets. So I wasn't the dad that I should have been or that I needed to be during that time, even though I was always there monetarily, and I was more of a weekend dad. I wasn't the dad like, I am today, where I have my kid a lot. I was just like a 4 days a month dad, every other weekend, 2 days or something like that type of dad. And so that's one of my biggest mistakes as a man. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, one of my biggest dating mistakes is not being aware of the situation that I was putting not only myself in, but then on the backside of that, the child that I created, and putting him in that situation as well, where he didn't ask to be there. So that's me.
That's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of my lessons that I learned, just about life in general, like you said, came from other people or people that were close to me. If I see somebody make a mistake, I don't got to do it too, just to get to replicate the pain or the problem. So I had friends, and my cousin got pregnant. And so I was very cautious about that. About trying to prevent pregnancy and things of that nature. But to your point about trying to get your career started, where I was from, man, I didn't know nobody. I'm the first person in my family to go to college or whatnot, so I didn't really know how you went about getting on the career path. So that's how I ended up in the Army. That was the only way that I knew I would be able to go to college. Now, had I known better or known other people, I was smart enough to get scholarships and things of that nature. I just didn't know about it. And so, as far as dating goes, though, you touched on something, Jay, trying to please women. Try to be the good guy or the gentleman and all that. I think, in our era, that was you had the pandering in the music. You had, you know what I'm saying? Like it was kind of prevalent to beg women and baby please and I'll do anything for you and all this type of vibe. Where I bought into that stuff early on too, until I realized how stupid a lot of the ideology was. You know what I mean? Like, I would observe other guys putting themselves in really stupid situations, and I just the logic wasn't logicking for me. And so I just had to, like you said, I had to come up with my own standards, and this is what it is. I'm gonna treat you fair. I'm gonna treat you with respect, but this is what it gotta be. Otherwise, I'm not interested. And sometimes you gotta stand on that. Sometimes, like you said, you gotta be willing to cut off a cute chick or cut off a chick you like fucking. It is what it is.
I can't believe this, man. You just brought back some memories of some simp classics. Some simp classics. Think about it. Like, think about it. Think about this. Think about this. Take my money, my house and my car. For one hit of you, you can have it all. What? Are you serious? Yeah, but we was singing that like, yeah, take my money, my house and my car. Like that was the pandering back in the day. Now they just done moved it over to social media and they just do it in a different way. But man, I can't believe it. Like some simp classics. I'm gonna have to have simp classic Sundays or something, because all of them songs is, you know what I'm saying, begging women. And as a man, like it's cool. Don't get me wrong. When I say this, because Terry, you mentioned being nice and being a gentleman and all those things. That's great. I always try to be a gentleman and treat women nice. But there's a balance that you have to find in that as a man. And when you don't find that balance in that as a man, you learn some lessons real quick. Be it with your money, with your feelings, whatever the case. Because you're thinking, hey, yeah, I'm gonna give her everything, and then she gonna give me what I want from her, and it don't play out like that. So you got to learn how to put balance on that and not be overly nice. or try to be overly gentlemanly, if that's even a word.
Yeah.
because you're trying to
advantage.
overdo it. Yeah, you're trying to overdo it, and most women can tell that you're overdoing it, and they typically don't like men like that, even though they'll say with their mouths on social media that that's the type of man they like, but they just talking with feelings and no logic, so you can't really believe what they say when they say that. So, find some balance. Don't be too nice and too gentlemanly. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, some of the things that you learn with experience, like, I don't believe that you can actually convince a woman to like you. You know what I mean? Like, and so I found myself doing that in my teenage years, where you try to, or in high school, I tried to convince a girl that I was the one, or I was the dude she should have been dating. Where in hindsight, I'm like, fool, you passed up on chicks that you knew liked you, chasing after a chick that wasn't even giving you the time of day, really. So it's just common sense stuff like that, where my decision making just had to be tweaked. And I think all guys go through that phase where you have to learn how to compose yourself around cute chicks. You know what I'm saying? Like, because deal with the temperature changing and your heartbeat going faster, and just a lot of things that happen to you when you're around somebody that you actually like that. Not saying saying or doing nothing too stupid or embarrassing yourself. Just playing the cut. Once I learned to do that, I started to have more one-on-one conversations with the chicks that I like, and that's how I kind of got the confidence to end up as a hoe.
Yeah, you'll talk yourself out some coochie real quick, boy. I remember we was in Miami, right? I gotta tell this story. We was in Miami, me and my guys in Miami, and some chick. We sitting down there eating, and some chicks, like 4 of them, came and sat right behind us. And one of my guys, he's not that guy. And he turned around and say something to the chick. Like, he'd never been like a player type of guy. That's what I mean by when I say that. Right. So he turned around to the chick, and he saw her titties, right? And she was pretty. So instead of just trying to talk to her and just, spark up a little conversation, he turned around and was like, "Oh man, what are those, double D's?" She was like, "What?
What?
And what are those D's?" She was like, "Man, let's go." They got it, and I'm like, "Oh man,
you don't mess it up for everybody."
Oh yeah,
yeah,
completely ruined it, man. So you
fumble the ball at the 1 yard line,
bro. That's why it's so important to learn composure, to learn how to control your emotions and your feelings when you talk to a woman. That's why growing up in the 90s was so important and so vital for us now to be able to do this here type of thing and be able to approach women and that type of thing without being fumbled. You ever seen dudes fumble around talking to a woman because they so nervous and all this here?
Yeah.
Man, growing up in that time frame, you didn't have
takes
phones.
practice.
You couldn't DM a chick. Yeah, you had to go and approach women if you wanted to suck titties. Yeah, we all wanted to suck titties. So, the way how we had to do it, go approach them and learn how to control yourself and actually listen, then respond, make her laugh, say certain things, and then build a rapport that type of way. Now that's missing out here today. So a lot of men lack that.
Yeah, the 90s, I think, or our era, you had to have active listening skills to actually get to that level with the girl. Because I remember one of the things that I about being in that era, you never knew when your phone conversation was about to end. You could be talking to a chick to a phone, her mama, "Nicole, get your ass off the phone." You know what I'm saying? Like so you never know when you're gonna be interrupted. You never know when the conversation's gonna end. And so my philosophy was always, I wanted to make it something where she would look forward to talking to me again. And I would do that by asking probing questions. When she's talking about something, actually connect it to something, make a joke about it to where it is something that I could ask a follow-up question, and it can come up in future conversations because I'm showing that I was actually paying attention. And so those conversations, like you just said, SD, I would when I had a cordless phone, I would be in the mirror while I was on the phone with girls. So I would be practicing my body language and how, you know what I'm saying, like stuff like that. So I was a little advanced for my age, but man, it was well worth it. Well worth the research.
You could have put a whole DVD back in the 2000s. Body language and everything, man.
This dude is diabolical, man.
Yeah.
He's a menace out here in the streets when he was young. But hey, what's the worst advice someone tried to give you in regards to dating? The worst advice you ever heard?
The dudes in the military that tried to convince me you're not supposed to pull out. You shouldn't waste your nut. Is what they would call it. Some guys from Georgia, man, they frowned upon. They felt like if every time they nutted, it should either be in a girl's mouth or her vagina, and they didn't wear condoms. So that was the stupidest thing. That completely contradicted my philosophy on safe sex. But that was the craziest stuff that I heard from some other guys trying to put me on game.
I say the worst dating advice, like I probably got over is using pickup lines to get a woman. I've realized this: when you initially talk to them, either she's interested or she's not. So within those first 5 minutes of a conversation, either hey, she's gonna be, because if she's not interested, there's nothing you're gonna say to her that's gonna.
We'll get to 5 minutes.
Yep. It won't even get there.
The worst advice I ever heard from a married man, was happy wife, happy life. And even if you wrong, act like she right and just agree with it. So you ain't, you
hold on to get along.
Upset. Man, if you don't get out of here, she's wrong, but you gonna act like she right just because you don't want to upset her. Man, if this ain't the simplest stuff I ever heard in my life, happy wife, happy life, while you walking around miserable. A lot of these dudes be walking around here miserable.
And that's probably a sexy marriage at that.
Yeah, a lot of them be miserable. Like, it's guys that, listen, it's me.
Because if you can't voice your complaints, then what?
Bruh, it's men at work done told me they ain't had head in 2 or 3 years from their lady. They get sex maybe once every 3 or 4 months from their lady. These dudes are miserable. But because they don't file for divorce, a lot of women think that they are that they happy, and the women are the only ones that's miserable. So a lot of these dudes suffer in silence because of advice like that they got from somebody else, or I know it's a lot of other things that involved in it too, losing their money.
But they can lose. I was about to say, yeah, she could keep her in the whole.
But I see why a lot of men are shying away from actually getting married and stuff like that. But that's some of the worst advice I've ever heard, man. Like, happy wife, happy life, and just agree with her. As if you don't have feelings and you don't want to be happy too as a man within the relationship. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I think guys in today's day and age have to make some drastic changes to how they approach dating because of social media. You're marketing yourself whether you realize it or not. Yeah. And so you have to be cognizant of how you move, what you post or whatnot. You can't be in everybody's DMs. You can't just be shooting your shot at every chick you see. Like, you got to have some discretion, because the last thing you want to do is be viewed from the female perspective as the lame that's just trying to fuck everybody. You know what I'm saying? Or trying to holler at every chick. So how you move it, and I guess on a date market, that would be your brand. Your brand is gonna be a combination of how you're perceived and how you move. So you gotta put some effort into making sure it's on point.
That's right. Absolutely. So,
all right, man. It looks like we are up against the clock, so we about to get up out of here. But before we go, I want to give another shout out to my man, Brother Soul Productions, for keeping us late for our background music. I want to remind y'all to continue supporting the podcast to our Cash App and our PayPal. JSD, man, I appreciate y'all linking up so we can get this episode knocked out. This has been another episode of the Ho to Husband Podcast, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.